I think when you're young, you think you're going to end up somewhere. And the truth is you never end up anywhere. You just are on a ride until it ends.
Let's take a quick moment to thank the people that support and sponsor the podcast. When life takes an unexpected turn, you deserve someone who will stand beside you. St. Louis attorney Chris Dully offers experienced one-on-one legal defense. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com. That's DULLE lawfirm.com for a free consultation.
Sometimes the people who make us laugh the hardest are the ones who have lived through the most. Welcome to Hope Comes to Visit, where we hold space for the full human experience and we make sure that there is room for the light to come in. I'm Danielle Elliott-Smith, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, my guest is Kelly MacFarland, comedian, storyteller, and someone who brings humor to the real, raw parts of life. Kelly has appeared on Comedy Central, The Last Comic Standing, The Today Show, Gotham Comedy Live, and so many more. And her work truly lives at the intersection of comedy, heart, and honesty. From her special appearance, Wit Happens on Prime Video, to her latest release, Hot Gnome, Kelly has an incredible way of making you laugh while also making you feel seen. Kelly, I'm so excited you're here with me today. Thank you for joining me.
Of course. Thank you for having me. That was a wonderful intro, by the way. It's nice when someone speaks lovely about you. That starts a great conversation.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I feel like it's easy to speak lovely about you. You have a remarkable bio. And in addition to that, I enjoy your work, right? I mentioned before we started recording, before I had a couple of technical issues starting this process, that there were moments when I was listening to your comedy and I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And I have to say that that's not, for me, that's not always the easiest thing to do. As much as I love to laugh, I'm not always brought to that level by comedy. So I consider that a pretty good compliment.
I mean, that's my favorite compliment, actually, if you want to know the truth. I started doing stand-up in 1998, and I never really knew where I was going to end up. And I think when you're young, you think you're going to end up somewhere. And the truth is you never end up anywhere. You just are on a ride until it ends. So now when I get that compliment where it's like, I'm a toughie, I'm a tough one to crack, but you got me, I feel very happy about that. That's all I've wanted to do is make people laugh. So if I can tickle you, that brings me joy.
I have a 21-year-old daughter, and I come from a family of people who consider themselves quite funny. And in my original family of four, my ex-husband is a very good friend of mine. In that original family of four, I have always been told I'm the fourth funniest. So originally, my ex-husband always said he was the first, and now my daughter says she is the first funniest, but her favorite compliment is that she is funny.
Oh,
so
yes.
When she is told that she's funny, it is by far her favorite compliment.
Yeah, I don't think it was always my favorite compliment. Like growing up, I wanted to be something other than the funny friend right. And who's labeling you that? Probably it's yourself, right? You label yourself where you think you fall in the pecking order of your group, your like small circle. And then what I realized is that we all have something we're bringing to the table. And if mine is the ability to make you laugh or not see things quite so seriously, or actually bring some relief when things are too serious, I'll take that role. I'll take that part 100%.
At what point did you say to yourself, I think I'd like to be a stand-up comedian? I happen to think that stand-up comedy has to be one of the bravest career paths out there, because you are really laying yourself raw and asking people to find you funny. Like you're saying, here it is. Like you're like tap dancing on stage and saying, come on, I swear I'm funny. And if people don't laugh along, you are vulnerable.
Yeah. I think that people say that a lot, actually, that stand-up comedy is so hard and you have to be so brave. And I appreciate all of that because there are things in life that I think I could never do that. That's so brave. That's so ambitious, right? And then when I was a kid, I just was always performing. And I think, right, like you find your role in life, and there are a million reasons why you behave the way you behave. And I'm sure there's a million reasons why I ended up being the one always trying to cut everybody up, right? Like make them laugh and bust a gut. And I loved performing, and I just always loved stand-up comedy. I thought it was so cool, and I loved, 70s SNL and 80s, and I loved Lucille Ball and all the shows, right? So it's like Carol Burnett. There's just so much that brought me joy, and I love absurdity. I love this idea that we all see things differently, and it's all great. And I love telling a story that's relatable from my point of view and having people realize, I've thought that. Oh, so when I was in my 20s, there was a comedy club in the town I was living in Portland, Maine. And I started going and hanging out there, not hanging out in a sense of like by the bar, but I would go to the shows. And then they were having a contest, and I just thought, I didn't know people really could do this. Like this was an actual thing that you could just do and make it happen and have it be your job. So I did the contest on a dare. Friends of mine were like, you should do it. And then I won, and then I won the next round, and then I came in second, and just never really stopped doing it, never looked back. And about 10 years ago, I just left my daytime work job and went comedy all in. It's good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What has been the highlight or one of the highlights of this career path? Something that's unexpected.
I mean, I would probably say that it's all unexpected, and that's the best part. I feel like I didn't take the famous person path, I guess is the best way to say it. A lot of people will say, well, do you have any regrets? Well, yes, everybody has regrets. Do you have anything that was amazing? Yes, there have been great things that I've done. I got to be on Comics Come Home at the TD Garden in Boston with Dennis Leary, and that was my biggest crowd ever at like 18,000. That was amazing. And then last weekend, I was at this tiny vineyard on Cape Cod, and those people were so there for it, and they were having the best time, and that was also really amazing. So I feel like I'm doing something right if I can see how great both of those things are and be grateful for both of them with the same kind of like enthusiasm and excitement.
I love that perspective. I was listening to a couple of different things you've done, and we'll talk about Hot Gnome in a minute, but there was one portion where you were talking about your husband, and you were talking about there being two different types of people who brush their teeth.
Yes.
And I'm listening, and I'm thinking, are there? Okay, what are there? And I'm newly married, and James and I got married in November, and I'm still very much, thank you, I'm still very much in the he can do no wrong stage. And so I still can't picture myself getting to the why are you breathing?
Yes.
Why do you have to breathe so loud stage? But but you're talking about the two different ways people brush their teeth, and you described the first way, and I'm thinking, well, that's how I brush my teeth. And then you just started to describe the second way, and James gags when he brushes his teeth. And the sound you made, I was drinking coffee, which was a mistake at the same time as watching and listening to you. And I thought, is she in my house?
Right.
And I think that's what you're talking about when you recognize that people feel seen in your comedy. And it's similar to why I do the work I do.
Yeah.
I hope that when people listen to us have these conversations, and when they listen to your experiences, whether they're choosing comedy or a different path, they're saying to themselves, I get that.
Yes.
And there's something so powerful in making people feel seen. And so thank you for making me feel seen in the most beautifully comic way. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah.
So
I knew you were going to say that. Like I could, that bit specifically is it's so weird to me what you never know what you might say, right? That like will change someone's perspective.
right.
That's like I'm a pretty touchy-feely, deep person considering that I do comedy for a living. But that bit about brushing your teeth, it's the most viewed joke I've ever put out ever.
Really?
Yes. And people love it. And I get more feedback from people about that bit. They're like, I never really realized this. Now I can't unhear it. Some people are like mad. Some people are like, yes, thank you for saying it. No one talks about this. And
I mean, I almost want to film him
please,
while I have him listen to the bit.
please do. Tag me in it. Please.
Because it's like, when I tell you that I choked, I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
Because I really and truly was like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Like, what is the other kind?
Sure.
And then I thought,
Yeah.
because I've never heard anything like it before in my life.
Well, and I think, right, like, I do think everybody listens to that bit the same way you did, where you were like, what do you mean there's two different, I mean, what are you using, a carrot? Like, what are you using instead of a toothbrush? And then it is as simple as, I am very particular about my teeth. For many reasons that we don't have time to go into right now, but guilt is probably the biggest one. My parents bought them, put me in braces, right? And then never let me forget it. Yeah. And my husband also he has a beautiful smile. He has a big pumpkin head, beautiful smile. And he goes to town, and his mother is the same. And she was the same way. Like, I remember the first time that we were all staying somewhere together and I heard her brushing her teeth, I busted in on him and was like, your mother. It's like,
This is what's
yeah. I'm like, this is hereditary. We have to tell everyone.
like we need to record this.
Right.
This is the thing.
I think I wrote that bit like the week after that, and then sat on it for a while, and then was like, I need to tell everyone. I feel like I have to get it out.
I feel like I need to share this with everyone. How did your husband feel being a subject?
So, yeah, this is the thing. As much as he takes a beating in the stuff that I have, the last bout of stand-up that I created, he is probably the most supportive, loving person that I've ever had in my life. Of course, next to my two best girlfriends. But anyway, you know, as a partner, he is just incredibly supportive. And sometimes he'll come to shows and afterwards people will say, are you the husband? And he'll be like, yeah, I'm the husband. He's very shy. He's a very reserved guy. And they'll say, well, I mean, how do you feel about that? And he always says the same thing. And I'm so proud of him because I did not coach him in any way. He always says, you know, I'm sure your spouse or partner or wife complains about you at work. And the difference is my wife gets paid for it. So I'm not upset about it at all. And I'm like, you're a baller. My husband's like
He's a quick one.
He's a confident. He's confident.
He's very smart.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is too, like one of the things, I'm giving away some of your comedy, but one of the things you said was, you know, my husband was married before. While I have an excellent relationship with my ex, his parting was not as amicable. And when you said one person's trash is another person's treasure, I was like, yes, he is my treasure.
Yes.
Damn it. Like, I've had no interaction whatsoever with his ex-wife, but they only communicate if must be. Mm-hmm. And so I fully recognize that I came out on top on this one, because I am such a winner in getting him, because he is absolutely my person. Like, he is the most extraordinary man I have ever known. And I am sad for anyone who didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I also know he and I had growing to get here, right? So we met each other at a perfect time.
100%. It's funny. I love hearing other people say that, because that's how I feel. It's a weird thing I was in my 40s when we met. I really didn't ever see myself getting married. I didn't see myself settling down, not in like a bad way either. I was probably a little self-destructive during that time before I met him. I think that I met him exactly when I was supposed to meet him. I don't agree with everything that he says. He doesn't agree with everything I say. And we love each other just the same. And I feel like when you meet a person that you can look at them and say, I don't like what you just said. That made me feel horrible. And you're also not packing a bag and trying to run at the same time. That's magical. And I know that may seem like such a small thing, right, to people that have never experienced that feeling of like, I cannot believe that I'm being hurt like this again. And your instinct is to run, right?
But I know that you're not going anywhere. And I think that moment that I recognized that we were in it.
Yes.
We were in it, and we were doing this.
Yes.
And I actually saw, it was probably on TikTok. And I mean, it's hardly wisdom, right? But someone was talking about having asked their grandparents, what was it that kept them together for 60 plus years? And it wasn't the traditional, like, I always let her win the argument kind of a thing. It was that I've loved every version of her, right? And she's not the same person now that I married in her 20s, right? And I love that so much, because when I married her, she was this version of herself. And when she became a mother, she was someone different. Mm-hmm. And when our kids were in their teens, she was someone different. And when she was, when our kids were leaving home, she was different. And when she was a grandmother and through love and loss, see, that even gives me chills.
Right.
She became someone different. And if I was still trying to love the 21-year-old version, we wouldn't be together.
No.
And I think that's what's so magical about where I am now is I'm married to someone who recognizes that we're supposed to evolve together and that we're supposed to fight for the changing versions of each other.
Oh, I love that you found that on TikTok, by the way. And I also am someone who I'm on TikTok just being like, let me watch dog videos and tutorials about my changing neck, and then also any kind of life lessons about anything that might be resonating. Yes.
I do the same. Although I see a lot of cat videos. I have 2 dogs and a cat, and I see a lot of orange cat videos that are up in my algorithm.
Yes. I feel like my algorithm there should be some privacy around algorithms. Like, no one should be able to see your algorithm because it's not entirely up to us. Okay. The universe is providing.
It's definitely not.
My husband he is not the same guy that I met. I've been with him 13 plus years at this point total. And he's not the same guy, and I'm not the same woman. And it would be really selfish of me for him to want him to stay the same, and I get to change. So every time I'm frustrated or I'm like, ugh, big eye roll, right? There's a lot of big eye roll in our house. I have to think to myself, like, would you back up? Let's do a 3-prong approach to this eye roll that you just threw your back out doing. Like, is there, do you love him? Yes. Is he adorable? Yes. Could you see yourself being anywhere other than where you are right at this moment? No. So then you knock it off. And unless you're willing to communicate, you sit on your hands a little bit until you're ready to do so. This morning, actually, so he's a normal and he went to his job and I have a stepson who's turning 21 in just a few weeks. On Easter, he was driving back to college and got into an accident. And we were driving in the car. It was like one of those classic things that you as a parent like worry about happening and then it happens, right? Which I feel like has been my life's lesson since I turned 50, is that everything you've worried about your whole life, it's going to happen. So stop pre-worrying about it because it's going to happen anyway. You're missing because you're pre-worrying. So he called and he was like, I just got into a really bad accident. And then he got disconnected. Calls us again. Oh, I'm in a really bad accident. Disconnected. Calls us again. Our phones go off, our watches go off because now his phone recognized that he was in an accident. The car recognized he was in an accident. So long story short, he's fine. He ended up being fine. The car, not so much, but who cares? It's a car. And this morning, we went and got him, brought him home, had him checked out. He's got a little whiplash. This morning, he's back at school. My husband just texts, have you spoken with M? We call him by his first initial. Have you spoken with M this morning? And I'm like, no. Why?
Why?
And he doesn't text me back. He leaves me on red, doesn't text me back. So I go to our group chat. We have the big 3, my husband, my son, and I. And I'm like, I need to know everyone is okay right at this very moment, or I'm going to flip a table. Like someone needs to do something. So then my son, of all people, calls, my stepson, my son. He calls me. He's like, I am fine. What did he do to you? It's okay. I'm okay. I said, he sent me this text and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't know why he does that to you. I am okay. It's all managing people that you love, right? Isn't that so true? It's like you have these people in your life and you're managing their needs. Like, that's what you do for the people that you love. My son, bless his heart, knows that I was going to spiral. I was going to go into an OCD, ruminating, intrusive thought spiral if someone didn't talk to me. If
someone did not fill you in immediately.
Danielle, girl. Yeah. So then I texted my husband and I said, please, in the future, you need to make sure that you don't ask me a rhetorical question. I need all the information. And he apologized. He said, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. And then I said, and you wonder why I write long-winded jokes about you, which probably wasn't very nice, but I meant it. So,
however, it was true. So now is M okay?
He's perfectly okay, a little whiplash, but he's doing fine. He said he felt better today. He's just, those men, because now he's a man. He was a boy when I got him, but now he's a man. Mm-hmm. Those 2 men will be the cause of every gray hair on my head.
I get that.
And I wouldn't trade them for anything. They're like...
Is your group text called the Big 3?
I call it the Big 3, and I feel like I put that name on a lot of things, and I don't know if it's because I went through this like weird...
My daughter named ours Bloodline.
Oh, I love that.
And it's a picture of her and a WNBA player. That's the picture on the group chat.
I love that. Do you have everyone in your group chat? Like both, you're blended, or just you and you?
No, it's just the four, because God knows poor James would be like, what is happening right now? Because they go off on sports frequently. We have separate chats when we all need to do things, but poor James does not have to be subjected to the randomness that happens over there.
Gosh. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I know that there have been some things that have happened in your life that have been challenging over the course of the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that and how it has influenced your outward work.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place to be in and also be so self-aware. That's the other piece of this puzzle that I don't know if we talk about it enough. And I am always happy to talk about it with whoever wants to chat about it, is that I lost both my parents within 2 years to the day of each other. And they had been married and together a total of over 65 years. Wow. I lost my mom first, and it was always a fear. I also had, quick side note, I don't mean to flex, but I had a late in life diagnosis with a compulsive disorder with OCD. And and a quote, the psychiatrist was like, first of all, I want to commend you. You've probably been living with this your entire life, and you are very well adjusted, and your coping skills are insane. And I was like, yeah. Heck yeah, right? Yeah. So it's ruminating thoughts, it's intrusive thoughts, it's I think OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, can be really something that people don't fully understand how it affects everybody differently. And for me,
I have a good friend who is currently seeing a therapist for that specifically, because that diagnosis, she has now realized how intrusive it is in her world in general. So she's working specifically with an OCD therapist. And so she and I have been talking quite a bit about that. So it's interesting that you've brought that up.
Yes. And I think it's great that she's talking to you about it. I did the same thing. When I got the formal diagnosis, I told my closest inner circle tribe of friends and was like, listen, you probably already knew this, but I am not just quirky. And I'm actually I have this formal diagnosis now. And my husband always laughs because I was with him when this happened. And I came home and told him about it. And he said, so how did that conversation go? And I said, well, he said, you have OCD, right? And I said, yeah, probably a touch. And he was like, no, I really think that we should explore this. And I was like, sure. So anyway, and he said, Kelly, I need you to stop for a minute. You're being very performative. So your defenses are going up. He's like, no shame in this. But I'm so sorry. I need you to tell me that you know that you have a compulsive disorder. I need you to acknowledge it. And I was like, fine. Yes. And he's like, because I have a file. He was very funny. He's like, there's a file I've been working on. And I was like, fair enough. So one of the things that I would obsess over or have intrusive thoughts about, and it's just like watching a movie that you can't turn off. And out here, I'm fine. I was able to perform. I was able to write, enjoy things in life, have great, healthy relationships. There's a movie playing, though, in my head all the time, and it is dark. And one of the things that I would obsess over is death, losing parents, losing friends. I could be having a conversation with my mom, and then the whole time I'm talking to her, I'm like, she's going to die. Like, at some point, she will die. She'll be dead. She's going to be super dead. Like, couldn't shut it off. So I had that diagnosis and then did a ton of research on it. And then the thing that I was so afraid of that took up so much of my energy my entire life actually happened. And the world kept turning. And I was okay. And we can do hard things, right? It was like every stitched pillow you've ever seen. Right. And my dad broke that day that she, it's like one of those sad, like, she collapsed in his arms and she had a brain bleed, and the ambulance came and they were in Florida, and he never talked to her again. He was, it was like, the trauma, it's like all trauma. And he broke. He did not know how to do life without her. He couldn't function without her. He wasn't himself. So I lost them both kind of at the same time, which is
heartbreak is a real thing.
It is legit the thing that we all share as people. I feel like if we could all just like take a beat when we're angry and remember that we're all pretty much the same. We'll bleed if you cut us. We're not gonna be able to always be laughing and smiling. We're all gonna experience loss. Our hearts are gonna break. It's just such an odd feeling.
I learned through my own loss about 3 years ago, and it was the first serious loss I had experienced. It occurred to me that loss like that is the only universal experience, because not everyone's going to fall in love. Not everyone is going to have a child or have their dream job or, fall down. But every single one of us is going to lose someone we love desperately. And yet it is this thing that we are so ill-equipped to handle in each other. And so how did you take care of your dad?
Well, we brought him, I went down and spent a month with him in Florida, just abandoned my life and went down there. And my mom went through all the phases. She was in ICU, then she was in hospice, and he couldn't make decisions. And I made those decisions for him, and he just couldn't function. So I brought him home to Massachusetts to be with my husband and I. And he, now when I look back on it, I fully am aware that he had his own illnesses going on, and it just accelerated everything. And he also told me that he didn't want to be here anymore. And I said, I understand that. I can understand that. And he became very angry with everything and everyone. And I was always really close to him and my mother, very close relationship with the both of them. And this wasn't the same man that I knew. And what I had to do was really just kind of support him in the best way I could. And also protect myself a little bit, because
makes sense.
I was really hurting and was angry. I was really angry at him for many things about how the whole thing went down with my mother, and just life is hard, right? I would say that every day. My husband would we do 6-second hug at the end of the day, because they say if you hug, you know this because you're
adds life.
This is your business. But we do 6 seconds for people that don't know. If you do a 6-second hug, it says it releases the serotonin and all the things. So we do 6-second hug before bed every night, even if we are barky at each other, we still do it. And he would ask me, "How are you today?" And I'd say, "I can do hard things." And he'd be like, "Is that your answer?" And I'd be like, "Final answer. I can do hard things. I can, do stand up when I want to take an Ativan and maybe an edible and, lay down and sleep it off."
It's like Taylor Swift's song,
yes.
Performing through it all, right?
We can do it.
Yes, we can. At what point though, did you ever come down? Did you ever allow yourself to come down and feel what you were feeling? Or did you continue to put up the fence of hard things?
I think when my dad was very ill and at the end, and for a good same blueprint my mother did, where it was he was up in Maine, where I'm originally from Maine, and he was in a hospital in Maine. And I went up and stayed with my dear friends, Michelle and Paul, and crashed there for a month and would go to him every day. And every day I started realizing on that drive over there that this is awful. This sucks so bad. This is awful. And it's okay that I'm mad and angry and also really sad. And it's okay that I cry every day when I leave this hospital. It's okay. Feel the feels. Like, you're gut punched every day when you wake up and realize that you're not in your own bed. And it's okay that you're mad, sad, glad, happy that I had like
you're not getting your 6-second hug every day.
That I'm not getting my 6-second hug every day.
You're not with your person. And so not only are you drained, you're not getting a refill at all.
No. And I think allowing yourself, there's something really empowering about that, where it's like, I think I was on a slow come down, and it just, when I landed, I honestly felt like the other shoe had dropped. When my father passed away, it was like, I was gutted. And my shoulders went down, and I just felt like I could breathe in and out. Not because I was like, good, I'm glad he's gone. More, he was hurting so bad. And when you're watching someone who hurt, it is
so painful.
So painful.
There is nothing more painful than watching someone you love hurt and being powerless to do anything about it.
Yeah.
How did this period of time in your life translate for you in terms of work? Does it does it become something that aids in your storytelling, or does it just make you feel stronger and more powerful? I got to get back to work because I can do hard things.
Yeah, I think it's, there is something about me now when I'm performing that is so different than before, that I don't even know if the audience knows it, if they've seen me or followed me, or if you watch me 5 years ago compared to now. But there's something about knowing you can do hard things, knowing what it feels like to be immobilized by like grief. And she's fickle. Grief shows up. She'll just show up, right? She is what? She's something. I'll tell you. She'll like show up at the weirdest times, right? And there's no way to navigate it other than to try to just be very present and centered. And when I'm on stage, when I'm performing, that I actually feel the best when I'm on stage performing. So I would just remind myself that this is going to feel great, and it's okay to talk about the things that you want to talk about. I think that's the other thing. And I also feel like that's just like getting older. That's being a person who's aging and not fighting it and just letting it happen.
What are you doing? Reading my mind?
I mean,
that was the next direction I was going.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Well, it was another thing that really resonated. But I also feel as though I need to say this to you. So I watched some of your older work, right? Some of the new Kelly and then the current Kelly, right? And you inhabit your body differently now.
I do.
There is a different level of comfort and confidence, and part of it is life experience. Part of it is wisdom. Part of it is aging, right? And it makes me think about the pieces you are doing about, there's something about getting into your 50s. I'm in my 50s, and just saying, yeah, I kind of don't care what you think, right? Because this is who I am, and God damn, I worked so hard to get here, right? And I worked really, really hard to get here, to be here, and I earned. It's kind of like those, when I used to hear about like the Red Hat Club, the women in the Red Hat Club, and I used to think, so I'm never wearing red and purple. Carry on, ladies.
Yes.
But there's part of me now that totally understands where they're coming from, right? You worked really, really hard to earn my laugh lines and my wrinkles and the gray hair and every piece of me. And that's what I see on stage in you now.
Thank you.
Because you inhabit, from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, you inhabit every piece of you, and you look like you feel good and strong and powerful.
there's a lot of joy coming out of me. I feel like when I'm performing, and because I feel very lucky that I'm able to do it. I feel very grateful about it. And I think it is not lost on me in any way that life is hard and we're all going to go through hard things, and it can be taken from you in a split second. And worrying about it, sure, we're all going to worry, and that's just part of life, and that's something you have to navigate. So when you do have joy, you better grab that joy the second you have it, because it's fleeting. It could be gone in an instant. So I want to have a good time. I was out in Washington State doing shows recently, and in these small theaters, and this woman came up to, I always meet the crowd after if I can. That's something that's really, really important to me. And I like to go out and say hello. And I'm all of just shy of 5 feet tall. So when people meet me, they always want to hug me. My husband's a little bit more cautious about it. He's like, I really wish you wouldn't let every person hug you. It's like unnerving to watch it happen. And I was like, but they want to hug me. And he's like, I know, it just, you own you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but just know that, like, be careful. And so this woman came up and with this man, and the guy looked worried and she was crying. And I was like, I don't know. What did I say? Did I say something? Did I offend her?
How did I hurt your feelings?
And she said, may I hug you? And I said, yes, of course you can hug me. I said, as long as you tell me, are you sad crying or happy crying or mad crying? And she said, I'm crying because I was laughing so hard. And then I realized that I feel very seen by you in a really real way. And I felt, it took my breath away, because what I'm working on now is new material that's a little bit more about me and my mental health and how I've been navigating and what I'm doing to stay present, and the crazy thoughts in my head that my partner actually is just supportive of, even if I sound bananas. And those little bits of reinforcement and reassurance are so valuable to us, because we need to know we're on the right track. And if you're invoking some sort of like emotion from someone, whether it's happy, sad, joy, whatever it is, you're doing something. So do a check-in and see if you're putting out what you want in the world. And I feel like
are there any topics that are off limits for you?
So yes, I will actually say that. I don't discuss politics in my act. I just don't. It's a thing that I've seen people really go off the deep end either way, right? Both sides. Right. And to me, our world is very volatile right now. And you just paid money to forget about what maybe is causing you trouble. So I don't want to bring that up when we're supposed to be having a moment together that's joyous. And
so you're looking more for lighter humor rather than something that is going to be polarizing.
Exactly, because you never know. And I want to have fun. I want to have some fun. And if that comedy's not for you, then okay. I get it. And listen, I'm a fan of some comics that push the envelope. They push boundaries. They make people think. I'm all for that. It's not what I do personally. I would rather be relatable. I want you to feel like you wish I would come to dinner at your house. I would love that, by the way. And that's where I'm at.
Come to St. Louis. I have a house. I have 3 rooms you can stay in.
Yes, please. I love St. Louis. I was just there late last year with Kathleen Madigan, who's a brilliant stand-up comedian and just like an amazing human. And she's from there. So I was there for my first time, and the crowds there were amazing.
I love that.
Yes.
So now I'm going to have to be in your audience at some point. I'm going to have to travel to find you.
Yes.
Talk to me about Hot Gnome.
Oh. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hot Gnome came about from all of this, actually. You're such a brilliant host, by the way, Danielle, because you You're like taking the path exactly where it needs to go, because honestly, all of the things we just talked about brought me to filming Hot Gnome. So yeah, Hot Gnome started out as I felt my shoulders going down. I felt my center coming back a little bit. And I was like, you know what? We could all be gone tomorrow. So I need to do something that's mine. I want to make something. I want to make just like a time capsule of my favorite stand-up. So I self-produced, self-funded. I put it all together myself, and I recorded just a year ago, actually, April 4th last year at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts, one of my favorite historical venues to play. It was a wonderful night. I did 90 plus minutes of stand-up, all my favorite bits, which was consolidated down into 1 hour of what became Hot Gnome, my special, and it's out on YouTube where you can watch it. And then I got with the guys, gals, and folks at Blonde Medicine, and they have my other 2 albums on their label. So I said, hey, would you want to release this special as an audio, as an album? And they were like, we would love it. So you not only can watch it happen, you can also listen to it on your travels and on your way to get coffee or wherever you want.
Well, friends, I will tell you, it is funny. It is funny. Add it to your playlist. Watch it. You are fun to watch too. So while it's great to listen to, I would encourage people to watch it because you are. I mean, like I said, I'd love to have you. The game you play, like, who would you like to have over for dinner? Yeah. Like, you'd be someone so fun to have for dinner because the banter is so easy and the conversation is so much fun, and it's just. Like, this has been so much fun for me. Back at you.
You are lovely. I was listening to you, obviously, because you want to do a little homework, right? You want to know what you're dealing with, right? You want to deal with. And I was like, okay, fits into my play group exactly perfectly. So, this is so easy. I was on a podcast a couple nights ago, and I smile a lot. And the host actually commented, you smile so much. And I was like, I think I'm just like, when I'm in it, I'm just happy. Like, just happy to be here. I swear that's my one person show. I should name it that. I'm just happy to be here, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There you go. There's your next idea.
There it is.
I'm just happy to be here. Because you know what? That actually plays into what you were saying about things could change in a minute.
Yes.
So you're just happy to be here.
Yes.
So all of the pieces that you do everything you can do for that particular episode can be filed under, I'm just happy to be here.
Just happy to be here. Yes.
Happy to be here. How do you define hope, Kelly?
Ooh, I define hope it's probably way easier than we need to, than we make it, right? Like, having hope is just this idea that you should soak in, that you're going to be okay, and being okay might mean that you're crying in your car while you're singing 80s tunes, or you feel so much despair that you just need to shut it down for the day and go to bed early, or you're watching Ted Lasso for the 50th time because it just makes you feel good to laugh out loud. I think hope is those little moments that you can find yourself grabbing that bring you joy or make you feel something. I don't think hope is always has to arrive when you're in this desperation mode or this like dire straits. I think hope can just show up when you are like having a quiet moment and things are okay. In that quiet moment, that's hope. At least that's how it is for me.
I love that. That's perfect. What advice would you have for someone who is contemplating a career that requires performing?
Well, I would say just do it. I mean, it's What's the worst thing that could happen? That's what I always tell myself. If I feel any sort of jitters or nerves or butterflies, I've always told myself, what's the worst thing that could happen? And that actually came from my dad. So over 20 years ago now, I don't talk about it as much anymore because it's been so long. I was on a reality show called The Biggest Loser. I was on the first season of that show. And I remember calling my dad the night before the first day of taping. And it was a brand new show. It had not even sold when I was signed on to do it. And I didn't think it would sell, but my goodness, look where we are. And my dad, I remember saying to him, I'm like, Dad, I'm so nervous. Like, what if I make a fool of myself? What if I have a heart attack? What if I hurt myself? He's like, those were all like the worst things that could happen, and you'll heal. Who are you embarrassed in front of? And you're still going to be loved when you get home. So what's the worst thing that could happen? And I was like, oh,
I love that.
Way to simplify my emotions. And thank you, because you're absolutely right.
How much of your current mentality, your ability to, recognize that you can do hard things and to talk yourself through things is a function of a life lived experiences? Or is it working with a therapist and recognizing your OCD diagnosis and working on yourself?
I think it's both, right? It's like knowing that it's every day, right? I feel like that's something that if you can kind of accept that piece of the puzzle, right? I think I check in with myself every morning. I do take just a few minutes every morning when I wake up and I have a quiet moment to myself. I check in on my mental health, like how are we doing today? How am I feeling? What do I need, right? What do I need? Sometimes it's just sleep. Like sometimes you just need rest. And rest doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to take a nap. It can be, I just need to really decompress. I need to process things appropriately so that I'm not holding on or pushing down and not recognizing where I am physically, mentally. So I think it's a combination of everything. You need to really not be ashamed or have too much pride to take care of yourself. It's really true. I hated hearing that. That was big, right? Remember in the early 2000s, it was, if you can't take care of yourself, then how will you take care of anyone else? Yes, it starts with you. It starts with you. And
your oxygen mask on first.
Yes. And it's true though. I hate it, and it's true. Those two things.
It is true. It has been delightful having you on the podcast here with me. Where can people find you?
Yes, they can find me at kellymacfarland.com, or they can find me out on Instagram with pictures of my dog. And yeah, they can find me anywhere. It's just my name. Just Google me. You'll find me.
Just Google me.
Just Google it.
Just Google it. You have been a pure delight.
Aww.
I love laughing. I love laughing with you. I love having you as my new favorite best friend.
Yes.
So thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you
for being vulnerable and sharing your heart and being so relatable and making people feel seen. I'm grateful.
I'm grateful for you. Thank you for having me. What a great, this is culminating of everything we just talked about.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And friends, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Hope Comes to Visit. Make sure that you seek Kelly out, that you listen to and watch her work. It will have you in stitches, I promise. And go ahead and share the episode. Make sure that you are spreading Kelly's love and making people feel seen as far as you can. And until we spend time together, please take very good care of you. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.
Naturally, it's important to thank the people who support and sponsor the podcast. This episode is supported by Chris Dully, a trusted criminal defense attorney and friend of mine here in St. Louis, who believes in second chances and solid representation. Whether you're facing a DWI, felony, or traffic issue, Chris handles your case personally with clarity, compassion, and over 15 years of experience. When things feel uncertain, it helps to have someone steady in your corner. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation.